Solopreneurs, come on down! Unpacking all your business woes on the go. Your queens of business banter, Laura and Lindsay. You're in for a hilarious half hour of unconventional, unpredictable, unadulterated solopreneur shenanigans, jam-packed with pearls of wisdom and actionable aha moments. Let's get ready to banter!
Hello and welcome to Banterpreneurs. She is Laura. She is a professional speaker, an amazing performance coach, and she's just getting meals delivered. Congratulations, getting meals delivered. How good is this, right?
Thank you. I don't know if it's a congratulations. I think I'm going to be hangry for a while my stomach shrinks from my husband's Italian-sized portions. But I think
that'll do it, yeah.
In the long run, Laura will thank me for it. Anyway, before we go into that, she is Lindsay. She's an improv teacher, a creativity coach, and she has the voice of an angel.
Oh, that's lovely.
A dark
Thank
angel.
you.
No, I'm joking.
A dark. No, it's interesting because when I used to sing like at gigs and stuff, everyone would go, "Oh, your voice is so beautiful, like an angel," and then you talk. You know, like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You should just sing everything.
Yeah. It'd just be so much nicer. It'd be so much more appropriate.
Yeah, maybe we should do an entire episode one day where we just sing everything.
Just sing everything?
Yeah.
I'll be up for that.
We'll put that on the list. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah.
The musical episode.
Yes. Yeah. Now then, I'm telling everyone what we're talking about today, aren't I? That's my job.
Yes, that's your job.
My job today. I can't remember what we're talking about. Oh, I know what we're talking about.
Kind of interesting, because that was a really interesting segue that, like, I sing like an angel.
Yes.
But then I talk. Yeah. Right? So it's like two me's, right?
Oh. I like what you did there. As my esteemed colleague has just said, lovely segue. So what we want to talk about today is how it seems like a lot of us tend to have different personas, and in particular, professional. I know if you're listening, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm doing those, what are they called?
Air quotes again, people. Air quotes again.
Air quotes.
Yeah.
Oh, my air quotes are quite...
They're a little bit excited.
I'm very excited. Personal personas. And so the reason that this has come up is because I've just done a couple of MC gigs for some big corporates. And it was quite nice because I felt like I stepped on stage both times this time, and I was just myself. And I buggered about a little bit and,
Beautiful.
Said some jokes and just had a good time. And the reason that is so pertinent is because I've done a lot of work to be able to do that. And I used to show up on stage or in front of camera or even just in front of people at networking or whatever in meetings as what I used to call professional. There goes the quote, air quotes again, professional Laura. And I would pretend to be something I wasn't, in all honesty. And it was even worse when I was talking with the bigger boys, as I like to call them, the big corporates. And this weekend I was talking with some pretty high-powered people, CEOs of really, really big companies. And I would have been like totally, almost like starstruck isn't the word, but
yeah,
just feeling completely inferior, I suppose.
Yeah, intimidated.
Yeah, and just feeling, I think that's, and yeah, like inferior, like they're better humans than me because they're higher up the ladder. Whereas, this time it didn't actually really enter my mind. I was like, this is an impressive person. What can I learn from them? What conversations can I have with them rather than how can I impress them? And so that's why I wanted to talk about that today, because I know I'm not alone in that. I don't know, have you had experiences like that where you felt you had to kind of show up as someone different to who you are?
Yeah, being a woman in the music industry.
Yeah, right.
So I'm not a kind of girly girl. I'm not a
one.
Yeah, I know. You wouldn't know, would you?
Until you sing.
Until I sing, then I become an angel, complete angel. I'm not a girly girl. I swear a lot. I am quite sort of masculine in my energy, I would suppose. I probably do have a bit of testosterone pumping around. At least the hair on my chinny chin chin says so. And so, you know, to be in an industry where you get along better if you show a bit of cleavage, you have that sexuality about you. The reality of it is that when you're doing gigs with mostly men, to be taken seriously, you do need to be a little bit more manly. In the music industry anyway, this is what I'm saying. So, for example, you know, a lot of female singers, they just turn up and sing. They don't know anything about sound. They don't know anything about musicality. They don't know what the drummer's doing. They don't know what the guitarist is doing. Whereas I made it my mission to be a musician. So I knew about music. I knew about production. I knew about sound. And what I found was I was more able to lead bands and stuff like that because they would take me seriously because they knew that I knew this stuff. But to do that, I had to risk being the desirable female of the band who was this sexy person up the front who was kind of singing. And that also had a bit of an effect on the opportunities I got. So I wouldn't get certain corporate gigs or I wouldn't get certain things. I wouldn't be the person they chose because I wasn't, you know, pretty and I wasn't sort of flattering eyelids and all this kind of stuff that female singers should be doing. But I would get the kind of gig where they needed someone reliable who was really, really good at what I did.
Yeah.
And so for me, I guess it's been a little bit different in that sense. So the only sort of corporate-y stuff that I've really done is more gigs.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously you would have to sort of dress up a little bit more, but I always managed to wear pants instead of a dress, whereas most female singers would wear a dress. Don't get me wrong, you know, when the rubber hits the road, doesn't matter. If you're good at what you do, people will make exceptions for you.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And that is what would happen at corporate gigs. You know, people would be okay that I didn't have all the sort of trimmings. But for me personally, it's not really something I've had to think much about, to be honest.
Well, it's interesting though, and I don't quite know where this is going to go actually, which is good because that's the whole point of our podcast.
Yeah, that's our podcast.
That's totally what we do, guys. It's interesting because you say that you haven't, but then you've just spoken about how you felt like you had to change yourself.
Definitely, yeah.
Fit in, but then what you're saying is you had to do that. But my question is, did you have to do that, or?
Oh yes, definitely.
You didn't. Yes, it sounds definitely. Like you didn't totally. To me, it sounds like you expanded your offering rather than changing yourself. Because if you were changing yourself, you would have worn the dress. You would have had the lower cleavage.
Yeah, it's not me. It's just not me. Like I don't
abandon your resources. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you didn't necessarily change yourself. You just made yourself more valuable, I suppose. And while that wasn't the value that some people were looking for, the value, again, air quotes, some people were looking for was the tits.
Yeah, that's right.
It still meant that you had more value to offer other places.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think it was more a case of I probably had deeper and better relationships with my band members than other female singers in the sense that, you know, they're kind of like all the band members want to fuck them. Yeah. And that's about the extent of the relationship, you know what I mean? Whereas like with me, it was like I was one of the boys, you know, so we would have actual proper conversations and I just had a better life really, like in the sense that work was somewhere that was really fun and you could have good conversations. You weren't sort of put up on a pedestal as this sort of, oh, look at this hot bitch that I want to fuck. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, it was good in one sense. And I think I felt freer doing that because I really don't want to be defined by what I wear, how I act, all that, which is probably why I'm in improv.
Well, yeah, exactly. But also, I mean, I'm going to say knowing you, but I think actually most people, if they did go the route of I'm just going to be the thing that I think people want me to be, sure, you might have gotten into different.
I'd get 2 weeks out of it. Honestly, I couldn't keep it up. Just couldn't do it.
And it wouldn't have felt right to you.
No.
It would have been very incongruent with who you are, which never ends well long term. And actually, when you were saying that, I was going, yes, very kind of excitedly, because it was the same experience for me in personal training and in the gym.
Interesting.
So I actually remember saying, because it was mostly, there was a couple of female personal trainers, guess what, who most of them were fucking or wanted to fuck. And trying it on with them. And I remember saying to the boys once, I was like, how come none of you have ever tried to fuck me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think you're one of the boys.
Yeah, but I didn't actually want them to, and it was a joke.
No, of course not.
This isn't me opening the door, by the way.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's some of the best years of my life was in those gyms with those boys. We had the best time. And looking back at it now, it was the same for you. I was just being myself. I was just enjoying what I was doing and not feeling. I said, actually, there was a part of me that felt like, maybe I should be thinner and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, I felt that all the time. I should. Because, if I did do that, maybe I'd get more gigs. Yeah. But I'm like, but do I want those gigs?
Yeah.
So I don't want those gigs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's probably an important point. It's not like we didn't have the thoughts. It's just that we didn't follow through on them. And this is something
just too stubborn
all the time. Yeah. We're like, fuck you. We will not fit into the mold.
Exactly.
But I think that's a point I always like to make to people is, you can't necessarily always you can't make all of the thoughts go away. You know, the unhelpful thoughts, whatever they might be, but you can choose what you do with them.
It's kind of like how I see it in my brain is, we've got lawyers and we've got a case, and the thing is that for this case, I've got the lawyers that are on my side, and then I've got the other lawyers or the prosecutors or whatever that are trying to get me to do that thing.
Yeah.
But I will always just have better lawyers on my side.
Yeah. Yes. I love that.
You know what I mean? Like,
I really love that. I think we all need a better legal team on our side. But what's interesting as well, now I'm thinking about it while we're talking, because at the beginning I said, I was professional law and I had to kind of overcome that. I think that's a good example of me not being comfortable in my environment. So the difference between the gym was I was really comfortable in that environment. I was comfortable with those people. So I was more able to be myself and bring in the good legal team as opposed to the other ones. Whereas
the bastards.
The bastards. As opposed to when I then was going into, like when I started having my own business and having to network, that was the sort of first place I started to experience it, having to pitch my business and be amongst people who I did feel were better than me and higher up than me. Because I wasn't comfortable in that environment, it really brought out these feelings of not being comfortable in who I was. And that's then when professional Laura would come out to compensate for that and try and bring myself up to this like non-existent level that I'd kind of created in my mind.
Yeah. I mean, look,
at all.
There is a case for, there's never a second chance to make a first impression in the sense that people do judge. Like they do. Yeah. They've done research on it. There's a halo effect if you're good looking. If you wear glasses, you are perceived as smarter. Yeah. There are like certain research things that those first impressions do count. And so possibly, I might have, sabotaged myself in some senses, in some ways, because I wasn't willing to even like move a little bit on that. So I think that definitely for me, being aware of that sort of evolutionary thing that people, they want an in-group or they expect to see you in a certain way. And then when you don't sort of that, you're not that way, they're going to, exile you in some way. I mean, that's kind of like an evolutionary thing. But, like I grew up with a very oppositional mother. Okay. So if anything was cool and I said to her, oh, yeah, it's really cool, this thing, she'd go, sounds ridiculous. Like, so whatever the cool thing was, right, was like, she'd just take it down. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. So it kind of, and she never was impressed by celebrity or impressed by, big deal. Are they a good person though? Like that was her thing. So I kind of grew up with this, I guess, oppositional the more you try to make me a certain way, the more that I want to rebel against that.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting. Which
yeah.
Which is also not what we want.
Exactly.
We want to just be who we are, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Another form of molding yourself into something else.
That's right. And you're still letting the other person's opinion control you.
Exactly.
It's just that you're in opposition to it rather than in congruence with it or whatever, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one thing that popped into my brain that I did want to point out is I do think that we do have to fit with the environment to some degree. So, you know, I couldn't turn up to these corporate gigs in like ripped jeans or like no bra on. Do you know what I mean? Like that isn't appropriate, especially the no bra. You know, I do have to wear something a bit smarter. You know, I don't bring out the F or the C bomb on stage, you know?
Yeah.
There are certain I don't know if social norms is the right thing to say, but certain expectations around that, which is fine. Yeah. That's okay. You're not fundamentally changing who you are. You're just meeting some of those expectations, like you said, because it's all about impressions. And in order for you to be yourself and get your message across, you do have to meet people sometimes at whatever their level
where they are.
So they feel comfortable and then they're more receptive to whatever it is that you're doing and saying. That I think is fine. It's when you fundamentally change who you are and feel like you need to be something that you're not, that's when the shit will start to hit the fan.
Yes. And like people talk about this stuff to me and it's very, very hard for me to understand because of mum. Like her most important value for me was to be myself. Yeah.
Oh God, imagine if that was the MO for all parents, but it's not at all. That's like you're lucky that was.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm really grateful to mum for that. I mean, look, she's fucked up in other areas, but in that particular area, you know, she really made me, you know, be okay.
Yeah, and you know what? This is my thing, right? Is this is why I'm so passionate about helping people be themselves. Is also I want people to live better lives, but I also want us to give to our future generations better opportunities. And kids learn through what they see, right? They learn through osmosis. So if they see their parents anxious or freaking out or, you know, worrying about who they are and what they look at or what they're going to do and all this kind of stuff, sweating all the small stuff, they're going to think that that's just the way it is because they don't know anything else. So the more we can get comfortable with ourselves, be in the moment, you know, live according to our values, all that kind of stuff, the greater the opportunity we're going to give to our kids because that's what they're going to see.
Yeah, and to be honest, and I can see this in relationships, you see two people that get together, they move in for the first time, right? Mm-hmm. And the real people start coming out because you can't make it happen for too long, you know what I mean? Like you can try and, you know, but then it ends up, you know, oh my God, he's doing his toenails in the bath, you know, whatever, okay? The real you will come out sooner or later. Don't waste time.
Don't waste time. Like my husband literally said to me about 3 nights ago, he was like, why can't you be more ladylike? I was like, I'm never going to be more ladylike. I was like, this is me, baby.
This is me. Yeah.
And he accepts that, but at that point, I think I was being particularly vile.
Well, I kind of preempted it with Luke when we first started going out. And I said to him, because I knew that farting's going to happen sooner or later. To me, that's a milestone in a relationship. If you're able to fart in front of your partner, right, that you're now in the realness. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's what's going on. And so even, you know, because I got sick of going on dates and like, you know, being in the toilets doing like yoga positions to try and get all the farts out before I went out. You know, and so I said to him, look, you know that I'm going to be feeling comfortable with you the day that I can fart in front of you. You know that, don't you? You know, and he's
so
like, okay. So like preempting it, and then it happened. It was a big deal. I mean, I know people who've never farted in front of their partner.
Me too. I was having a conversation with a couple. I can't remember. They've been together a long time. I can't remember who it was now. And they still go into the toilet to fart. And I was like, what? Like that blew my mind. How can you do that?
Yeah, I mean, like, and I remember Mum telling me a story about a woman she worked with who wore like makeup to bed.
Oh,
like
what?
to bed. And then at a certain time during the night, she'd sort of take it off. So the husband would see her as she's falling asleep with thing. She'd take it off. And then just before he woke up, she'd go half an hour early to get her full face on again.
God, that's
so that he would never see her without makeup.
Wow, that's exhausting.
It's exhausting and it's sad.
Yeah.
Like, I find that really sad that you really think that you're not enough just as you are.
Yeah.
That it's all about what mask can I put on, to the outer world.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's crazy. And honestly, the more comfortable I've gotten with myself, the better, the more I've enjoyed life. And I just
of course
want people to kind of to know that and do that. But I don't care if everyone doesn't like me, as long as the good people like me, the people that I want to like.
We're doing a podcast on it. I told you, not everyone's going to like you. Right. We're doing a podcast on that one.
That's right. We are going to do one on that. So we'll continue that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But it is a lot about that. It is a lot about being accepted, being liked, being rated as well. So, this person's really professional. Wow, look what they're wearing,
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
I've met people that are dressed like amazingly and they're dicks.
Yeah, doesn't mean anything, people.
Doesn't automatically make
Doesn't mean anything. And the interesting thing is,
I don't judge.
No, I don't. Of course not. No. I don't judge ever. So, the interesting thing is too at networking events and stuff, and you feeling like, well, I've got to be professional, I've got to fit in, I've got to this and that. Where actually your brain remembers difference. So the thing is that if you have an element of being different, that's what people are going to remember. So,
And do you know what I think? Unfortunately, the biggest way that you can be different is to be yourself. Like, honestly, I'll walk into rooms, networking rooms, lots of people, and the people I remember are the genuine people. Like, I have many conversations where it's surface level bullshit. Even my friend holds this event every couple of months with different speakers talking about a theme. It's a really good event, and she'll get all sorts of different people that are professional speakers, never spoken before. And honestly, every time I resonate mainly with the ones that have never spoken before, because they just get up on stage, they just tell their story, they might cry, they might forget their words, they might say that they're really anxious,
nervous,
straight away it's like connection. Whereas the ones that get up and they're super polished and know their lines and pause for dramatic effect and all that kind of stuff, I just disengage straight away. So it's ironic that the memorable people are usually the people that just show up warts and all and allow themselves to just be themselves.
Yeah, and that's what if you're doing business, you want to be remembered, man.
Yeah,
like that, you want people to remember you. I mean, that's you don't want to just fade into the background of like everybody else. I was talking to Angelina the other day, our friend Angelina, and she was saying that she was going to start doing some networking events with the Chamber of Commerce. And she said, I only aim for 3 to 4 people.
Yes.
Because I used to do like 10, and it's just you never have any real connections or real sparks. Whereas when you're really present and you're really yourself with 3 or 4 people, you're much more likely to have better conversations and get leads.
Yeah, totally. Actually, we should put that on our list. I can talk for a long time about networking and how to get the most out of networking.
Great.
So we'll do that.
We'll do an episode on that.
Do a bloody episode, mate. But look, why don't we, I know this is something that resonates a lot with people, so why don't we open this up and see if anyone wants to call in and
open up to the callers.
Yeah, open up to callers, shall we?
Let's do that.
All right then. All right, so we have a caller on the line. I hope. Are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. Who am I speaking to?
This is Elspeth.
Hey, Elspeth. So tell me, I mean, obviously you've been listening to what we've been talking about. So tell me what questions you have, how we can help.
Oh, can I just say too that I'm always listening to your podcast, and it helps me so much. Thank you so much for everything you girls do. It's just it's such a aha moment thing that happens, and I just really feel it in my heart.
That's great. Thank you, Elspeth. Well, that's exactly what we're trying to achieve. So it's good to hear it's actually working. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. And I know that you're a professional speaker. And so I thought maybe if I called in, I'm so happy I did get to speak to you because, yeah, that's what I wanted. I sort of put that out to the universe. And so yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about, I really want to expand my business. I'm an arty person. I create artworks in the moment. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to expand my business into perhaps doing corporate functions. And so how that works is that, maybe all the speakers will be up or whatever. And then I'm sort of on the side of stage, just painting a picture the whole time. And then just the whatever feelings and thoughts, maybe there's even words in the picture from the event happen. And then by the end of the event, there's this beautiful kind of, vista, this beautiful artistic expression of the event. But I just know, like I don't wear suits, I'm always sort of wearing skirts and scarves and I wear a crystal, so it's kind of like, I don't even know how to start. I wouldn't even know how to get into that sort of echelon, of work. And I just feel like, would I have to like deny who I am as a creative person? And do I have anything to say? Does anyone care? Do you think it's even possible that I could do something like that?
Well, thank you, first of all, Elspeth, for calling in with that question, because I know it's something that's going to resonate a lot with most people listening. So look, I've got some questions for you. And I suppose my first question is, tell me what do the corporates get out of your painting? What's the value that you give to them?
I really feel like to have a keepsake that is artistic and creative of a day is special and important, and everybody's input is like within this picture. So it's all about sort of collaboration and creativity and how to make something beautiful out of every gift that each speaker or each person at this event has to give.
Fantastic. And do you know how they're delivering that now? Like, what do people have to take away at the moment from situations like that?
Well, this is the thing. I haven't been to many sort of corporate events, but I have spoken to some people at networking events who've told me that a lot of the time it can be quite sort of boring and perhaps, they might take away sheets of paper or just things about websites and things like that. So possibly not something so visceral.
Yeah, absolutely. I can completely concur, and I can confirm that is the case. So I can tell you that you definitely have a very unique proposition. And I think in there lies probably the magic word is unique, right?
Yes.
So,
but is that going to be a problem? Like, because everyone's going to be like, who is this weird sort of creative person coming here, like just painting? Like, what is this,
Well, I think that, the first thing that springs to mind, Elspeth, is with all due respect, I think you're making this all about you. Now, I don't mean that in a egotistical way, because I can tell just from the energy that you're sending through the line that you're not that way at all. But this is what I see with people all the time when they're worried about who they are. They start to think they should be something else. It's because all the focus is on them, whereas actually the focus needs to be on the other person or people that we're dealing with. Because one thing I can tell you, Elspeth, is that everyone is ultimately only concerned with what's in it for them. And so if you can deliver what people want, if you can help them to understand what you're going to give them, what they're going to get out of it, that's the thing that they're going to be concerned about, and not what you're wearing or, if you're speaking the corporate lingo or whatever.
I suppose if they knew that I was creative and that was the reason that they were hiring me, perhaps they would almost expect me to look creative as well, I suppose, maybe.
Well, honestly, it doesn't even matter what they expect you to look like, to be honest. It's really about what you can give them. And so I think that the two words that have popped out is value and unique. So you're offering something that someone else isn't offering, and you're offering a lot of value in terms of what they're going to be able to give their people. They're going to be able to give them this opportunity for collaboration. They're going to give them a keepsake so they can remember the rest of the day. They're going to give them a unique experience. They're going to inspire them to be creative. Now, do you think if you went to the corporates and told them all those things that your experience could give them, do you think that they would go, oh, that sounds really good, but I don't really like the skirt you're wearing, so thanks, but no thanks?
I think that's wonderful. I just haven't really thought about it in those terms. And I suppose, when you are sort of freaking out about things, you do sort of start to shut down to the more objective, like looking at what people will get out of it and things like that. So I mean, you've sold it to me.
I've sold yourself to you. How good's that, Elsbeth? So just remember, focus on what makes you unique, and then show the other people how that can add value to them and give them what they want. And look, at the end of the day, if they still don't want it, then you don't want to work with them anyway. But let me tell you, there'll be plenty of people out there that will resonate with that and that will want to work with you.
Well, thank you so much, Laura. I'm so blessed to have your advice, and I'm really I'm gonna journal on that, and I'm really gonna write those things down, and I'm gonna play this podcast back again afterwards just to be sure, that I've got those points, unique and value, and what I have to give. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. And please do come on again and let us know how you go.
I will. Thank you.
Thanks, Elsbeth. Bye for now.
Bye.
Look, right.
I didn't know. Look, I was going to be part of the call. I wanted to be part of the call, but they've told me, and tell me even how this makes sense. There wasn't enough lines to patch me in to the call. Okay, what is this, 1994? What is going on? Okay, what is going on? Okay, but I did hear it.
Okay, well, okay.
I did hear it. They had it on the speakers and, on the speakers and everything. So
look, rather than me keep banging on, since you heard it, why don't you, I'd like to hear actually, not why don't you, I'd love to
why don't you?
Yeah, what did you take from that? I loved Elsbeth.
Well, firstly, lovely girl, lady, whatever, lovely, sort of heartfelt person. And sometimes I feel that can sort of be a bit of a hindrance too, if you just really like feeling and all that, because you're not sort of because what you were able to be was just really straight down the line with her, and just look, this is the truth of it, this is what you need. And I think that helped her to get out of herself, because like you were saying, you get caught up in your own thing.
Yeah.
About, this is me, this is da-da-da-da. And I think what you were saying, and this is just what I got out of it, was that, sort of severing that tie of it just being this huge thing that's got to do with you, and more got to do with, well, what can you give? So it's kind of, what is the value? What is your uniqueness? And how is that going to be of value and unique to the other person who you're giving it to, or corporation, or whatever it is. And I suppose, when I say person as well, I'm looking at micros even in a conversation, I guess.
Yeah, totally. And we spoke about this in a previous podcast. I can't remember why. I think it was the newsletter one. And we were saying, if you can understand who you're talking to.
Yes.
We had a chat with Auntie Pearl about writing letters as well. If you can understand who you're talking to, you can then deliver either the information or deliver the information in a way that's going to resonate most with that person and give them the best kind of experience, I suppose, that you can, and create winning scenarios. And I think that's what I was trying to get across to Elsbeth is, she is unique. Even if she did do the same experience as many other people, no one else is going to do it in the same way that she's going to do it. Exactly. So figuring out, how is that going to give value to the other person, to the corporates? What's it going to allow them to give to their people? Because let's face it, they just want to, not
bottom line stuff,
look good, but they want to give an experience to their audience so that their audience can take stuff away and then thank them for it.
Yeah, exactly. They want to look good.
Yeah, exactly. So understanding that. And with networking, for example, the best way to click with someone initially is to ask questions about them, be interested in them, because remember, it's all about them. And I don't mean that in a horrible way, but we are all sort of subconsciously thinking, what's in this for me? Yeah, I think, and that it doesn't mean you change that, by being yourself, you can then pick out, well, actually, this isn't the right thing for me, so I'm going to move on to the next person or the next job or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think like when you were saying it to her as well, what I got from it is like, if everybody's thinking, what's in it for me, well, then just make it easy for them to know.
Yeah, totally. We all want an easy bloody life, don't we?
Yeah. Like, this is what you're going to get. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're going to get all this value. And yes, I'm wearing a skirt, a flouncy skirt. So if that bothers you, then you can jog on, mate.
Yeah. I remember actually a couple of years ago at a gig, somebody asked me if I'd thought about doing some corporate stuff. I think I was just talking in between songs or something. And they said, you should go and speak as a musician and what you can learn, as from being a musician in the corporate sort of field. She was corporate herself. Yeah. The Stanford or one of those places. Yeah. And I said, I don't know about those corporate people, not really. She goes, yeah, but what you underestimate is like we want to find our creativity, and you signify everything that we want that we don't have.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter that you don't look like us. You know what I mean? Yeah. We want that. We want to see that,
Exactly.
And so it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, the thing for me was I was always kind of imagining that they weren't like a similar human to me. Like they were, like I've said a few times, on a different level, where they're not. We're all humans. We're not defined by our...
We all fart.
We do all fart.
That's all you got to know.
Even if you do it in another room, you still do it. Remember that if you're going into a situation where you feel inferior, just think, I fart.
You fart.
You fart.
I bet you think your shit don't stink.
Don't worry about thinking about your uniqueness and your values. Just think about other people farting.
That's it. I think we're going to end it there. I mean, that's...
Hello. Ain't going to get better than that, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. Well, bye, farters.
Happy farting. Okay, bye.
You've been listening to Banterpreneurs. If you have a question for us to answer on the show, submit it on our website at banterpreneurs.com. And if you liked what you heard, give us a review and share the love with a fellow business mate. See you next week for more solopreneur shenanigans.